Wow, check out the canal.
Yeah, and look at all there's the tulips over there.
Look, there's so many colors of them. I didn't know.
So pretty.
Hey, look, there's a guy rolling a giant piece of cheese.
Oh, well.
What's going on over? We got to go check that out. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. I am Mike.
I'm Sam.
And we are in Amsterdam, in Holland. It's great here, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a beautiful city. Of course, it's a capital city, but we didn't come here to meet the president or the prime minister. We came to see all the other stuff.
Yes, like the flowers and museums and all kinds of stuff.
Eat some cheese.
Yeah.
Ride on a bicycle.
That would be nice.
Maybe go on a canal boat. Ooh. I think we should do the canal boat tour.
We've got to do all the touristy things.
Absolutely. We're going to do it all. And you guys are going to be able to come with us because it's a 2-day article. It's all about Amsterdam. We'll be there. You guys are going to be there with us. It's going to be great.
Great.
So come with us and enjoy beautiful Amsterdam in the springtime when it's the best. So we're here. We're going to be having a good time. You guys are going to check it out with us. Back to the article right now. Amsterdam, the bustling, tree-filled capital city of the Netherlands, has long attracted visitors because of its beautiful canals, colorful cultural activities, and plentiful museums. Rich in history, Amsterdam is also home to residents from over 180 countries, a fact that reflects the city's culturally diverse, progressive spirit. All right, so yes, here we are in Amsterdam, and I guess a lot of people still think of Amsterdam and the country of Holland, or the Netherlands, to give it its proper name, as a place where we get those beautiful tulip flowers.
Yes.
Right? They're very famous and they're very well known. And that's why they even appear in the title of the article, Amsterdam Beyond the Flowers. So yes, the flowers, the tulips, sure, they're great, they're famous, but we're going beyond or past that. In other words, we're going to show you there's much more to Amsterdam than just beautiful tulips, although they are great. So let's find out more about Amsterdam Beyond the Flowers. And the first sentence says, Amsterdam, the bustling, tree-filled, capital city of the Netherlands, has long attracted visitors because of its beautiful canals, colorful cultural activities, and plentiful museums.
Yes.
There is so much to know and remember and see in Amsterdam.
Yes, and it's not just, again, beyond the flowers, not just flowers. It's also, I think the other thing that's so interesting is like how many museums they have. It's something that's like, I mean, we're going to learn more about it, but it's just so many museums in such a small area.
And so many different kinds of museums. It's not just paintings by dead people.
You've got all kinds of stuff.
All kinds.
And so in that sentence, we had plentiful museums. And so this word plentiful is an adjective that means plenty of something, means you have a lot, you have enough, you have probably more than enough. So if you've got plentiful museums, it means kind of everywhere you look, there might be a museum. You've
That's
got
right.
Tons of museums you could go see. And then we have a sentence that goes with this word. We have the cook had a plentiful supply of fruits and vegetables to work with. So it's not just like he had a couple, he had many, 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 many. He could choose from all types of different fruits and vegetables and make a great meal.
Exactly. There's not enough, there's just enough, and then there's plentiful, which is more than enough. You can have as much as you want and then more.
Yes, and then continuing on with our reading, we have rich in history. Amsterdam is also home to residents from over 180 countries. Whew, that's a lot of different people.
That's a lot.
A fact that reflects the city's culturally diverse, progressive spirit.
Very, very interesting. So yeah, when we talk about something reflecting something here, because there's so many people from other parts of the world in Amsterdam, it reflects the city's multicultural history. When we reflect, well, the easiest thing is your face, the light will reflect off a mirror. It bounces off and comes back. In other words, it shows something in a fairly accurate way, or it sort of shows a similar side of something, just as your face in the mirror is very similar or almost exactly the same as your real face, because the light reflects it. When something reflects something else in the world, not in a mirror, not talking about light, we're kind of showing this is a good example of something. This is another good way of seeing something, or another way that something happens in the world.
And we have a sentence here for this word reflect. We have Luke's rough childhood is reflected in his inability to trust others. So again, another look at this word reflect to mean show or to kind of
demonstrate.
Say demonstrate. Yeah, so he had kind of a rough childhood, so now he feels like it's not as easy to trust people, right?
I see. It's a good example of something that happened earlier.
And then we also had the word diverse in our last little bit of the reading, which is an adjective that just means lots of different kinds. So things are not the same. So, you know, if you've got like a bunch of sprinkles, they're all going to be diverse colors. You're not going to have just one color of sprinkle. You might have the white and pink and blue and whatever, right? And in this case, we had been talking about people because there were people who lived in Amsterdam that are from over 180 different countries.
Almost every country in the world.
Yeah, so that's that's a very diverse population. Right. There are many, many different kinds of people with different backgrounds. And we have a sentence here for this word diverse. We have a diverse audience attended this speech. So meaning this speech, maybe somebody famous was giving that speech, and so it wasn't just one group of people or people from maybe one area of the world. It was people from all over who came and listened to that speech.
Different ages, different genders, men, women, different races, very, very diverse. So obviously Amsterdam is very diverse in many ways. Not only is it diverse in the number of people and type of people who live there, but diverse in all the things that you can do if you go there on holiday. And we'll be checking out more about those things after the break.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。这一次要介绍的旅游地点是荷兰的首都阿姆斯特丹 （Amsterdam）。那至于荷兰的英文，同学们可能有听过 Holland 或者是 The Netherlands。那么 Holland 原本是指当地某个地区和前省份，那常常被用来代指整个国家。不过其实它的正式英文官方名称是 The Netherlands。好，那至于我们这边学一下 Dutch 这个字 D-U-T-C-H， 它可以当形容词形容荷兰的，也可以当名词来表达荷兰人或是荷兰语。好，那课文一开始写到说，阿姆斯特丹因为有美丽的运河，有缤纷的文化活动，还有众多博物馆，长久以来一直吸引着游客。那它也有丰富的历史，也是来自180多国居民的家园。那这样的事实就反映出这个城市文化多元而且进步的精神。我们来看单字 plentiful。plentiful 它是形容丰富的、充足的。那么 reflect 这个动词它表示反应或者是表现，它也有反射的意思。diverse 它是形容各式各样的、形形色色的或是多样化的，也可以形容不同的。Mike 老师刚刚他则提到 multicultural， 在 cultural 文化的前面加上 multi 变成 multicultural， 就是形容多元文化的或者是融合多种文化的。好，那说到 diverse 这个字 ，Sam 老师他就想到 sprinkle 就是撒在糕饼上面用来做装饰那种细小的彩糖。好，那这边有一个重点，我们来进入文法时间。好，我们来看这个重点是 because of 跟 because 的比较。Because of 是片语介系词，之后是接名词或动名词。那么 because 则是连接词，后面要接子句，它可以摆在主要子句之前或者是之后。我们来看一组例句 ：The accident happened because of her carelessness。意外会发生是因为她粗心大意。那如果用连接词 because 来改写，后面是接子句哦。那我们可以写成 The accident happened because she was careless。好，那我们继续回到课文中。
The city was originally founded as a fishing village in the 13th century. As time marched on, it became a center of trade, and its transportation system was eventually expanded. This transportation system defines the Amsterdam of today. About 90 small islands spread out across a network of more than 160 winding canals. Because Amsterdam sits on soft, wet land, more than 11 million poles are used to hold up buildings, houses, and even the train station. Boats on the canals serve not only as public transportation, but also as flower markets, shops, cafes, homes, and tour vessels. While boats are everywhere, the city is well suited for biking. More than 500 kilometers of bicycle paths throughout the city offer bikers a paradise of peaceful lanes and charming bridges to explore. Most of Amsterdam's citizens cycle daily, and there are more bikes in the city than people.
So, welcome back. We've been looking at Amsterdam and we've been talking about what there is more to this city than just flowers.
So much more.
Yes, and so we have been talking about the canals and the museums and all this kind of stuff. But now we're going to get into a little bit more of the history of this city. So if we continue on with our reading, we have the city was originally founded as a fishing village in the 13th century. As time marched on, it became a center of trade, and its transportation system was eventually expanded.
Very, very interesting. Because, of course, now it's known as a city of transportation. There's a big port near Amsterdam. A lot of the trade between Europe and the outside world goes through there. And, of course, it's a center. It's the capital of the Netherlands. So a lot of the local transportation will come to and start from Amsterdam. When we talk about transportation, we're talking about moving things, basically moving people, moving goods by car, on foot. Back in the old days, transportation would have probably been on a horse.
Yeah.
But today, of course, we have buses, trains, airplanes, ships, boats, all that kind of stuff. So basically anything that can move you from a good pair of feet to an airplane flying fast and high in the sky, that is transportation. Here, of course, when we're talking about a country's transportation system, roads, rails with trains, and places for airplanes and boats to stop and unload, that kind of stuff. It all comes together in Amsterdam. It's a transportation center of not only the Netherlands, but that part of Europe. For example, for this word transportation, we can say the mayor promised to increase transportation options for elderly people. Okay, so ways for older people to get around the city. Maybe not just taxi or bus, maybe special little buses for older people or something like that, which would be great. All right, back to our article about Amsterdam. It says this transportation system defines the Amsterdam of today. About 90 small islands spread out across a network of more than 160 winding canals. Wow, it's true. The canals of Amsterdam are very famous. They're kind of popular with tourists today, but really they were an important part of the transportation system 100 years ago and even earlier.
Yeah, and it makes sense why there would be so many islands. If you've got this many canals, you're kind of separating a whole bunch of little chunks of land all around.
True, yeah.
And actually, there was a little saying that I think is kind of cool. Apparently, Amsterdam is known as the Venice of the North because there's another city, Venice, in Italy, that is really well known for having a ton of canals and being famous for canals. And so Amsterdam has that kind of feeling, but in the north.
That's right. And you can still enjoy them today, these canals.
Yes. And so if we continue with our reading, we have, because Amsterdam sits on soft, wet land, more than 11 million poles are used to hold up buildings, houses, and even the train station. Boats on the canals serve not only as public transportation, but also as flower markets, shops, cafes, homes, and tour vessels.
That's incredible. And yes, these vessels are things that are used not only for transportation, but for many other reasons as well today in Amsterdam. But generally, when we think of a vessel, we think of a type of transportation, specifically a boat, a ship, a ferry, something like that. This is the kind of thing, a thing that moves on water is what we would consider a vessel. It's kind of a general term, like you can say clothing for your clothes, but of course shirts and pants, these are different types of clothing. Boats, ships, ferries, canal boats, these are all different types of vessels. And we have an example sentence for this word, don't we?
Yes, and it is Mr. Matsuda is the captain of a fishing vessel.
Oh, okay. We could also just say a fishing boat. Yeah.
But in general, that vessel word, we usually will think it's a little bit of a bigger kind of boat.
True.
If
Not
I'm
maybe
in,
like a
like a little rowboat,
canoe.
probably not usually gonna use vessel.
It's a very small vessel. But
Yes,
you're right. We
very
often,
small.
if you know the right word, you can, of course, just say boat or ship or canoe or whatever. But vessel covers any of those things that go around on water. And then it says, while boats are everywhere, the city is well suited for biking. More than 500 kilometers of bicycle paths throughout the city offer bikers a paradise of peaceful lanes and charming bridges to explore. A lot of the bridges are quite short.
Yeah.
Because they go over the canals.
Basically, it's just like, yeah, you've got a little tiny canal and you just need to go like, whoop, but it's still kind of fun.
That's right, and I think they have a U-bike type system there, right? So if you're a tourist, it's very easy to find a bike, rent a bike, and use it around the city, and very safe.
Yeah, and also just fun, a fun way to explore.
And flat.
Yeah.
It's very flat, so you don't have to work too hard as you're pedaling your bike around.
It's not like going up and down
no,
hills.
not
Oof.
like that.
So if we continue on, we have most of Amsterdam's citizens cycle daily. And there are more bikes in the city than people.
Huh?
Yeah, right? So I guess that's probably is going to be the renting bikes are going to add to
I
that.
thought people were riding two bikes at the same time.
No,
That
not
would be
generally.
Really, really hard. Okay, so there you go. Very easy to find a bike because there are more bikes than people in the city. Fantastic. Well, so far, so good. We've had a good time in Amsterdam. We haven't gotten a lot of culture yet. We've kind of gotten a bit of the history of the city, and now we know what we'll see and how to get around. So
Yes.
come back tomorrow, where we'll be having all sorts of great Amsterdam, Dutch, Netherlands culture for you in our article in part 2 of our look at Amsterdam Beyond the Flowers.
阿姆斯特丹最初在13世纪建立的时候是一个渔村，那后来成了贸易中心，运输系统也开始扩展。那今天的阿姆斯特丹大约有90个小岛，散布在160多条蜿蜒的运河网路当中。由于这个城市呢，它是位在松软潮湿的土地上面，人们就用1100多万根柱子来撑起建筑物诶。而且运河上面的船舶不只是作为大众运输工具，也作为花市啊、商店、咖啡简餐店、住家等等，还有做这个观光游船用。我们来看单字 transportation。transportation 它是指交通运输系统，或是指运输交通工具。Mike 老师在检视单字时，他用到 rail 这个字 ，R-A-I-L，rail 它可以指铁轨或是铁路，还有用到 unload， 在 load 前面加上 un 变成这个字表示卸货。好，下一个单字 vessel 它表示大船或是船舰。那课文接着写到说，这个城市啊非常适合骑自行车，自行车道遍布各地，而且大多数的市民天天都骑自行车，那边的自行车比人还要多哦。那老师们就聊到说，那边地势平坦，踩脚踏车踩起来应该不会太累啦。老师们用到 pedal 这个字，它当名词可以指踏板的意思，当动词就可以表达踩踏板或是骑脚踏车哦。那这边2个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们来看第一个重点是 serve as something， 可以表达作为什么、充当什么，像是 this box can serve as a table， 这个箱子可以用来充当桌子。第二个重点是 not only but also 是表达说不但怎么样，而且怎么样，用来连接词性相同的字词。那么 not only but also 在连接动词的话，时态必须一致。如果你要连接主词，那么动词是要搭配后面的主词，也就是说动词要配合最靠近它的主词。我们就来看2个例句。Brad not only directed the film but also starred in it。Brad 不仅执导那部电影，而且还在电影里面担任主演。那这边连接2个动词都是过去式哦。 Not only Gina, but also her sisters like to go shopping. 不止 Gina， 还有她的姐妹们都喜欢逛街。那句子里面的动词 like 就是配合最靠近她的主词 her sisters， 所以是用 like 而不是 likes。好，那么以上是今天的讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
Amsterdam, the bustling, tree-filled capital city of the Netherlands, has long attracted visitors because of its beautiful canals, colorful cultural activities, and plentiful museums. Rich in history, Amsterdam is also home to residents from over 180 countries, a fact that reflects the city's culturally diverse, progressive spirit. The city was originally founded as a fishing village in the 13th century. As time marched on, it became a center of trade, and its transportation system was eventually expanded. This transportation system defines the Amsterdam of today. About 90 small islands spread out across a network of more than 160 winding canals. Because Amsterdam sits on soft, wet land, more than 11 million poles are used to hold up buildings, houses, and even the train station. Boats on the canals serve not only as public transportation, but also as flower markets, shops, cafes, homes, and tour vessels. While boats are everywhere, the city is well suited for biking. More than 500 kilometers of bicycle paths throughout the city offer bikers a paradise of peaceful lanes and charming bridges to explore. Most of Amsterdam's citizens cycle daily, and there are more bikes in the city than people.
Hi everyone, I'm Stephen.
I'm Jamie.
We're going to play a game called Guess the Bear, where each of us has 3 words or phrases on these cards. There are 2 sentence examples for each one. Instead of saying the word though, we're going to say the word bear. Okay? And then you have to guess all 3 in 1 minute.
All right.
Can you do it?
Yes.
Set the timer.
Okay.
All right, I'll go first. I'll read. This is a noun. He worked on a shipping bear for 6 months. Number 2, the bear went down off the coast of Africa.
Ship, boat, liner. Wait, what's some other words? Let's keep going.
Okay. This is a phrase, 2 words. Number 1, the flight was delayed. Bear, bad weather. Number 2, he had to stop playing football. Bear, an injury.
Due to? Because of?
Woo, good job. Okay, this is an adjective. The American population is very bare. Number 2, London is a bare international city.
Major? Huge? Giant? Busy? Bustling?
The American population is very bare. London is a bare international city.
Let's skip it.
Okay, the first one. He worked on a shipping bear for 6 months. And number 2, the bear went down off the coast of Africa. Okay, I'm telling you, it was very difficult because your first one, it was vessel.
Oh, vessel.
Okay, he worked on a shipping vessel for 6 months, and the
Okay.
vessel went down off the coast of Africa.
Oh.
The second one, the adjective, was diverse. The American population is very diverse, and London is a diverse international city. It could have been a lot of different adjectives, so yours are hard, very hard.
Well, thank you. All right, ready?
Okay, ready.
Okay, let's go. 1 word adjective. Mangoes are bare in the summer, and this year the harvest was bare.
Abundant.
Close.
Prosperous. Next one, I'll think of it later.
Okay, 1 word noun. Taipei has a great public bear system, and bicycles are a cheap form of bear.
Transportation.
Good. Okay, 1 word verb. He took time to bear on his actions, and your behavior bears badly on you.
Reflects.
Good. All right, let's go back to the first one.
Okay.
Mangoes are bare in the summer. 1 word adjective. This year the harvest was bare.
Abundant, prosperous.
Similar to abundant?
Yeah, it's, wow, the harvest is very flourishing. No,
Adjective.
I can't think of it. What is it?
Oh, it's plentiful.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So mangoes are plentiful in the summer, and this year the harvest was plentiful.
Abundant is a good word to learn as well.
It is a good word. Yeah. So we were close. Just yeah. It's really hard. Like plentiful. You got the other ones. That's good.
See you next time.